Well, it's July 1st and I got a couple days where I snuck up here and I can work on my garden area. Hopefully I can get it close to being finished. I made a few mistakes on this, or learning experiences as I'd like to say. Basically what I'm trying to do is dry this area out. In the spring, the snow melt runs off and it kind of fills this area up and it stays wet through about half the summer. Then about the time it dries up, in the fall, that kind of wet season comes and then it starts to get wet again. So you really only have maybe a month of where this would be usable ground. So basically we dug a little ditch. I can walk over there. Just to give a little recap on this. I wouldn't even necessarily call it a ditch, a channel that I thought the water could run out and it connects to another ditch that goes down to another ditch that goes that way. So basically I'm just moving water around. But if I give you a lay of the land, we have this hill coming down, right? And all the water, you know, you get a heavy rain, we have clay soil. So you get a lot of runoff, not a lot of soak in. And the water would just come down here, kind of puddle. And like I said, especially in the spring with the snow melt. So my first thought was, all right, I will dig this channel. The water will kind of go in there. This area will get dry enough to work. And that did not work. We got water in there, obviously, but it didn't really seem to affect drying this part of the ground out. If you dig this grass up, the ground underneath is like soup. It's completely unworkable. Nothing but a headache. I mean, if you get the tractor stuck in it, you're not in for a good time. So my next thought was, well, then I cut the grass because I thought, yeah, that can't hurt. You know, the sun beating in, hitting the ground, that'll dry it up. And that helped. That helped. But it didn't completely make it workable. Okay. So it helped. Cutting the grass down helped, but it didn't help enough to make a difference. Okay, then my next thought was, okay, I will cut a slope with the backhoe, and we'll let this area dry out. Maybe this will dry out, and then I can just start taking the bucket in and cut from, you know, driving this area, maybe till it, smooth it, and start just cutting the sides and making it bigger and bigger until I can get this little field area sloped down to that ditch, which, you know, my plan always was to kind of slope the edges of the ditch, dig it deeper, make sure it all slopes out. Well, this plan didn't work either. This has been dug for a couple weeks and man, it's still wet and it's been pretty darn dry up here. Most of the ground up here is dry as a bone. Like if you look, this is not moist ground. All right, so cutting the slope, that didn't work, and it was actually kind of time consuming, and I run the risk of because if you broke through that grass, then you had to claw your way out using the backhoe in the front bucket to get out of that soupy mud. So now my thought process is that I'm taking the spoils from this ditch that I got to dig over here, and I'm piling them on top of the grass and the kind of the wet ground, and then I'm going to slope this down when I'm done, you know, because now I'm building it up enough where this is dry and it's solid and you can work on it. And I still have enough, the way the land layout is, I still have enough that hopefully I can slope it down from there and slope it down to that ditch. You know, eventually I'm going to reach a point where I got to start cutting into that grass. But hopefully then I can be working that ditch, and hopefully most of the water runs off and that dries out. We'll see. But for now, I'm just going to keep working my spoils and piling them on top and making this workable, and hopefully I can cut some kind of slope on it when I'm done to where it all runs to that ditch. So basically what I'm going to be doing today, you see where the tractor is. I had dug this ditch or a little channel earlier in the year, and I liked it, thought I was about done with it, thought all I had to do was even off the edges. But man, I was wrong. This channel here needs to be deeper than the lowest point of what this ditch is going to be. So basically today, and it's time consuming, I'm going to be digging this ditch out all the way down to the ditch that this one drains into, and then I'll have to pick up the spoils and haul them, and I'll start setting them over there, filling that area in. And I'm not sure how long or how far we'll get on this project, because over the forecast over the next couple days, it's supposed to get close to 100 degrees. And if it gets 100 degrees, I'm not going to be out here sitting on the tractor working. So we'll see how far I can get on this project over these next couple days, and I'll take you along for the journey and show you if I make any more mistakes, so you don't have to make them if you have a similar project. Maybe I can save you some time. So we took the spoils from that ditch and we started dumping them here, and then I tilled them to kind of break the clumps up because our soil is clay. And this is kind of what we're looking at. Some of these spots, it may be over 2 feet thick of what we added on top of the original ground. If you notice where I'm walking, it's kind of nice and I wouldn't say smooth, but it's smoother than what's off in the distance there, and I'll show you that. But this is tilled, and yeah, it's clay, that's why it's all clumpy. But we find that if we till it like this, because we had another area we flattened out, we till it, and then if the gods are kind enough to give us a little rain, it'll kind of smooth itself right out. But this section we didn't till. This section, the reason we didn't till this section, it was dirt from this little section of the ditch. And even though, well, dogs got to check it out. Even though it had sat alongside that ditch where I had dug it for a couple weeks, it stayed wet. So I mean, yesterday as I was picking these clumps up with the bucket to dump them here, I mean, they were still like shiny wet. So we dumped these clumps here, and we're gonna leave them dry up. Hopefully this grass that's mixed in with it kind of dries up and becomes a little so it doesn't wrap around the tiller when I do get up here to till it, which might be a couple weeks, because we got a little trip we're going on. My daughter's deployed, and we're gonna go see her ship come back from deployment and watch her get off. So it'll be a couple weeks before I get back up here now. But yeah, so this is basically what this looks like, and that's what this is right now, is what that looked like before we tilled it. But like I said, we didn't till this part because it's too wet to yet. Okay, and then ideally what we're gonna do is we're gonna grade the ground here so we have a low spot. And I'm not sure if we're just gonna have the ditch. I don't know, I've never done anything like this before. But I'm not sure if we're better off having the ditch kind of just be the low spot, or if we should dig a small little like water catchment, like a little like a mini pond and have that be the low spot and let it overflow and drain into this ditch. We obviously have to do some rounding and some work on the edges of this ditch here, but it's getting closer than we've been before. So, and basically this ditch connects to this ditch, which I had to re-dig deeper, and that's where most of my time went this weekend, was digging this deeper up until the backhoe broke. But yeah, so we dug this out, and then all the spoils went to fill that in over there where our garden's gonna be. All right, I just want to do a quick little update on our little driveway project, because I had it in one of the videos prior, and then I don't think I've said anything about it since then. But if you remember, we took a couple scoops full of concrete that we got from a old barn foundation, and we laid them all the way down the edge of this driveway. Okay, then we're stacked clay on top of that, and then what we're going to do is put some sand on top here, and then we're going to kind of drive on it with a little dump truck and pack it in, and then we'll put 3- stone on top of that. But this is basically how far we've got with this project. We haven't worked on it. We had other fires pop up that we've been putting out, and you know, and a guy likes to go fishing and relaxing every once in a while too. But I just wanted to share how far we've got with this. You know, I think it's turning out as expected. Here's a good example of the concrete we're using, because this right here, the road's going to turn out and go up through there. But I had to stop here for this because we're going to put a culvert in right there, and we're going to lay the culvert down. We'll cover the culvert with sand, and then we'll go back to the rock and the clay. But basically what we're trying to do is just widen the driveway a foot or two, and once we get it packed and the 3- on top, and we get some rain. We haven't got any rain here in quite a while, but once we get some good rain, I think that'll do a lot to breaking these clumps up and make it look a little better. And then down there in that mess that's kind of dead from us driving on it, I don't know, I'm debating on just seeding some clover down in there. I might spray and kill some of them weed trees that are trying to pop up, just because if a guy lets them get too big, they're a bear to take back down. But there, that's a quick update on our little driveway project. Thanks for watching.